Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how to get started with City Road Maker. We will cover the main features that need some explanation and I'll share a few tips and tricks along the way. We are currently on version 2.1 and from this version on, City Road Maker is no longer just a geometry node setup. It's a full asset library. Let's start by installing City Road Maker as an asset library. The first method is installing it like any other asset library by going to Edit, Preferences and File Path. We browse to City Road Maker file and add asset library. Let's open an asset browser window and we select City Road Maker 2.1.1. Now we add a simple road. Now, if you are using Blender 4.3 or Blender 4.5, you might notice an issue with this method. When drag and drop a road, for example, Blender keeps bringing object reference every time, as you see here. And even tweaking this import settings won't really get a clean result for you. On the other hand, if you are using Blender 5, let me open an asset browser. As you can see, you won't face this problem. And this is due to the new import method that's called pack. So Blender 5 is definitely better, but actually it's not perfect. For example, if we drag a sample, before dragging it, let's incheck this and we take this sample and drag it to our scene. This sample actually is a collection that contains other collections and objects. As you see here, Roundabout, it has two collections and bunch of objects. There is no problem with this, but let's bring another one, which is the simple intersection. And as you see here, some collections comes as packed. And this doesn't allow you to edit anything inside the geometry node inputs. I hope this issue gets fixed in the next Blender versions. The second method, and the one that I recommend, is appending City Road Maker collections directly into your projects. We go to File, Append, and we browse to City Road Maker directory. We open CRM 2.1.1, we open Collections, and we select All and Append. These are City Road Maker collections. Let's put these objects in here, and we hide them at the moment. We go to Current File this time. Okay, we select all. As you maybe noticed, we can't see the categories in here. We will talk about that in a moment. Now let's search for road and we take it. We keep dragging roads and we don't see the issue we had before, even in Blender 4.3 or 4.5. We still have an issue with dragging the samples, but you can simply go to the City Road Maker samples and you will find all of them in here. You can just copy paste any one of them to your collections. And regarding the categories, you just need to copy these two files into your directory so you see them organized like this. Let's move on to City Road Maker features, and starting from the main geometry node setup, which is the road. In here you will find over 280 settings that control more than 30 road features. And talking about all of them can be a time consumer. So I'll only focus on the settings that need a bit of explanation. Before that, let me give you a tip about creating the road. Never scale it in object mode, always go to edit mode. But in this case we are getting an error. You get this if you are using Blender 5 and you importing it, or you are using the import method pack, and it's asking us to make it local, so we'll just go here and make local. So we go to edit mode, and from here we can scale, we can extrude and draw our curve that will be converted to a road. Let's go back to our settings. As you probably know, City Road Maker is export ready, and if you want something that is modular and in the same time is export ready, you usually have to sacrifice a bit of realism. That said, I have tried to make it as realistic as possible, and I'm mentioning that because I want to point out to 3 points or 3 options that are the asphalt type CRM and wet, and also the roadside type impaved. These 3 with the art risk have been created procedurally. I wanted to add some procedural realistic touch for people who want to use the City Road Maker only into Blender but not exporting it. So if you are planning to export your roads, avoid using these options. What else? We will talk about pooling terrain later, and about the export ready. Only enable export ready after you are done editing your road, because export ready is actually realizing the instances, and in most of the cases there will be a lot of them, and keep editing while export ready is enabled and instances are realized will create some lag. So only check this box when you are done editing and you are ready to convert your road to a real mesh that is UV mapped and ready to export. And about the textures, you just need to go to File and External Data and Impact Resources to impact the texture into your directory. What else? I want to talk about the double lanes. If you check the double lane, you are creating a median road, which can be edited like editing the roadside. You can do it from here, from the road median. So this panel that's called road median is related with the double lane. If you enable it, you can control it from here. And also, if you enable the double lanes, you can add and control the center marking. And most of the remaining options are pretty clear and straightforward, so I leave those for you to explore. And regarding the roadside panel, people often ask about the difference between the MyProps feature and the random collection. The MyProps feature allows you pick your own street assets and placing them organized, for example, like placing a bench or a fire hydrant or a trash can every 40 meters or something like that. In the other hand, the random collection feature also allows you pick your own assets, but this time scattering them randomly. This is great for things like rocks, grass, or random trees in the forest. Let's move to the starting and end points. These two panels allows you control this point and this point of the curve. You can control the tongue size. We will talk about it in the junction parts. You can add and control the crosswalk, marking lines and traffic lights, arrows, and all of these are pretty clear and easy to use. And finally, the extend panel. This simply allows you extend some parts of your roads. For example, if you want your lane markings go through the junction, you check this lane marking and increase the offsets. I think it's enough talking about the road. Let's move to the junction. First, let's add 4 roads that make an intersection. And we simply drag a custom junction and we put it in here. And nothing happens. But why? If we go to the junction settings, we see that we have to add the roads collection. So let's add a collection for the roads and another one for the junction. We call it roads. And another one, and we call it junctions. So we add the 4 roads to this collection and the junction to this collection. Now let's go here and select our new collection, that is road. As you see here, the junction converts the road tongues to a real mesh. Now let's add roadsides. I select all of them and I go to roadside. Note that I'm holding Alt to add roadside to all of them, not only the last selected one. So one click and all of them has roadsides. Now let's hide the junction and add roadside. As you see here, the junction has also converted the yellow part to roadside. So basically the junction role is to convert the red part to a road and the yellow part to a roadside. Now let me give you some tricks to get the cleanest results. First, where the tongues meet each other, we just need to make them slightly overlap. Going crazy with the tongue size may create some merging issues, as you see here. The second thing is the tongue alignment in the z-axis. All the intersected tongues has to be at the same level or has the same global high. So we avoid doing this or doing this, and also we avoid this. But what if you are creating your roads in an up or downhill? Before going to edit mode, we have to go here and make local. Also, we have to do something else, which is go into objects, relations, and make single user, objects, data, and materials. And actually, this is why I recommended you to use the second method, which is appending City Road Maker collections in here. Because I'm using Blender 5 and I'm using the first method, which is installing City Road Maker as an asset library. Anyways, let's elevate this road. For example, to here. As you can see, the tongue is not aligned anymore. So what to do to make it aligned is to make sure at least the last 3 points are aligned. Let's extrude this. And again. And to make sure they are aligned, let's select all of them and we go to global. This is in level 1, all of them are in the position 1 in the Z axis. Okay, let's complete our downhill. We go to this road and we do something like that. And again, we make sure that the last 3 points are aligned. Let's move this back to something like that. And we have a downhill. We hide the junction. We can see that we have some clean results. So let's go here and move this a little bit down or back, and here clean results. Another thing is we don't rotate or scale this junction in object mode. This is wrong. So if you want to, for example, a bigger junction area, you have to go here and increase it. And actually, an idea just come out to my mind while I'm creating this tutorial is that, let's make it local. Why don't we just scale it in edit mode? For example, we have a cube and we can make it bigger or smaller, and everything inside would be converted to a real junction. However, in both cases, you don't scale it in edit mode. Now, what if I increase this range to something like 1000? As you can see, we have a very big junction. And also, you can see that these tongues actually converted to junctions. So let's do something else, is to duplicate this and put it in here, and another one. As you can see, the junction converted all our tongues to real mesh. So that's the junction geometry node setups can convert a multiple intersection to junction meshes, and we can control all of them at once. And another thing, be careful of the junction overlap, because if you do that, both will create meshes and they will be exactly above each other. And the result will be that black effect in the cycle render. I hope I didn't forget anything regarding the junctions. So let's move to the extension feature. If we open the extension catalog, we'll see that there is 3 extensions, but these 2 are based on mesh and this one is based on curve. And also, as you see, it looks like the road tongues with that red and yellow color. So let's take this one and put it in the junction area and see what happens. You need to put it in the collection roads, and as you see, the junction also converted to a real mesh or a road mesh. From this point, you have endless possibilities of what you can do with it. For example, let's create a bus place. First, let's remove these 2. We move this a little bit here and let's hide this. We bring our extension and put it like that. Maybe we have to do that we need to make sure that this one has the same height or the position in the z-axis as the roads. This one is in 1, this one has to be also in 1. And it is in the roads collection, so let's just we go to here and make local. We do that and something like that. Let's check it out. We make this a little bit smaller. Now it looks like a bus place. What if we put, let's go here and we put bus stop, rotate. Also we put some markings. Bus and stop. Bus. You need to make sure it's in level 1 as the roads. Also stop. Level 1. And here our bus stop. Now let's create that rounded end road that we see in some neighborhoods. So let's remove this and this. We don't need them. We go here, show, and we remove this. Let's move this one a little bit there, and we go to extension and we bring the extension round and we put it in here. We make sure it's in roads and it's in level 1. Now actually let's make it smaller. We go here, make local and make smaller. Also we make the roadside smaller. This is a big one. This is enough. So we go here and show. And we got the result we want. What if we switch this to a roundabout? Let's bring this and put it in here. This is also a big one. It has a big tongue, I mean. You put it in here and these two, we hide them. We move them back a little bit to something like that. Oh, wait. And we go here and show. We are missing something, which is this one, sidewalk round. We put it in here and we make it smaller. We go to edit mode and we do something like that. Now it looks like a roundabout. What if we put something else, greenery, and we put this green area above the sidewalk? We go here and make local. We make it smaller. Now it's more beautiful, isn't it? Wait. Okay. Actually, I prefer to make roundabouts. Otherwise, let me remove this. And we need to do that. And this. And this. Let's hide these two to see clear. Okay. Actually, we can keep this. We can make the tongues longer so this disappear, but also we can do that and that. But no, let's use the previous one, starting point, and we hide these two. Now we create our roundabout without that big rounded thing. Maybe this has to be smaller, and also this. You have the both choices and you can choose whatever you want. Let's create one final thing, which is that big parking area. First, let's move this here and remove these two, this one and this one. So we go to extensions, we bring the extension square, one, and roads. Okay, no problem. We make it a little bit bigger, maybe to something like that. What else? We need an entrance. Wait, let's make this at 0 and this a little bit smaller. We need an entrance, so let's duplicate this, make it smaller, and we put it in here. Let's see the tongues. Oh, don't scale in objects mode, so let's apply scale. Now, as you see, the red part will be road and the yellow part will be roadside. Show. Now we can add some lines. Let's add some lines. Markings. Marking lines, and we do that. You don't need all of these. You just maybe need, no. We keep the center marking and you only need one. Let's use the yellow color. Okay, we go here and make local, make it smaller and smaller. Do something like that. What else? We add an array. This is enough, I think. We increase the number and we duplicate. We add some others here. And now we have, let's move this little bit. So we keep the space for the car to enter. Okay. Something like that. And we have our parking spots. Imagine that with this feature you can even do something like that. Let's bring this and duplicate it, rotate. We make sure it's in roads, but nothing happens. Why? Because we have to increase this to cover the tongues. these two, you don't need them. So as you can see, this is a junction, isn't it? Anyways, as I told you, you have endless possibilities what you can do with this feature, the extension feature. Now let's remove everything and talk about something else, which is the signs. This is another story. Let's go to the sign. This feature allows you craft your sign the way you want by controlling first the panel. You can control the shape, the size and the color, rotation, and a lot of things. Also, you can control the back post. We choose the U channel, for example, and pole count 1, and we increase the pole high. Do something like that. Okay, what else? You can control the text in here. You have 3 panels to control the text, and every one of them has 3 ones. So in total, you can write up to 9 texts. And inside the text, you can control the color, the size, the positioning, and this is it. But if someone asks, but I want to control the font. Geometry node doesn't allow us to put the font as an input here. So if someone needs to control the font, he can go to the geometry node and zoom out. Again, we have to click on that icon to have the ability to control the geometry node. Wait. Don't worry about that big tree, but just go to the first one on the top. It's called panel text. We press tab in our keyboard, and in here you found that node that's called shrink to curve. Please reuse the second method, the appending method. You won't have to make the things local anymore. So from here you can click on this icon and choose any font you want, and you will see it in here. Okay, let's go back. The text, we talked about it. Now the images, you can add an image. For example, let's see an example. Overhead structure road. And here an example. For example, do you see that shield in here? You can download an image of that shield and use it as a material, because here you choose a material and it will be here in your sign. You can even put the whole sign as an image. Let me show you another example. Stop sign. For example, if let's consider that this is a free image, and you can download it and make it as a material, and come here and choose your material, and it will be here. You remove the text and everything. However, you have an example here. You can create it using the sign feature. No need for you to go and bring the image. Let's see here. This is the stop sign that I create using the custom sign feature. What else? Also, you have these lines shapes. You can add, like this one, you can add up to 3 lines and control them. These also are known in the signs, like the big signs in the overhead structures. They put some lines like that. So you have everything you need. What else? Actually, these are pretty simple, but by the way, these ones come without road. Let's put a terrain or a tunnel. So what you do to make sure that your road is exactly under your tunnel is duplicate, and we remove this from here. We add modifier and geometry nodes, search for road. The same thing about the bridge. It also comes without road. So duplicate and we put our road. Just to make sure that your road is exactly in the right place. So next, let's talk about the terrain or the mountain road feature. Let's bring this terrain and we make the view to 10,000. Okay. Now we draw a road. Something like that. Let's remove this one, we don't need it. So what else? In edit mode, we try fix our road with, or just approximately with the terrain. And we need to enable something, which is pull terrain. Now we go to the terrain and we choose roads. Our road has to be in the collection road. What else? We go back to the terrain and we can increase the flatten size a little bit and we maybe make it smoother. And there is something wrong with the road. So we can see that half of the road is under the terrain. There is something wrong with the rotation. So let's check the rotation. Yes, the rotation is wrong. Let's put all of them at 0 and let's fix our road. We take those and move them up, and this one to here, and this one's a little bit up. Now our road is fixed. I think we need to decrease the smoothness and it looks good. Now what else? Let's add a bridge in here. So let's extrude this and we separate them. So wait, before that we need to incheck pool terrain because we want to make it a bridge. So a bridge or an overpass road, it has multi names. There is no need for any merging in here, so let's just make it like that. Okay, this one has to be a bridge barriers. Yes, why not? Why not put in bridge barriers? We make this poles higher, and we don't need it to be in here, so let's move it back. And we continue our road, extrude. So here, for example, we select both of them and separate. This one isn't a bridge, but it pulls terrain. We move it back, or no need. Okay. Now we need something else because we can put the bridge abutment in here. Not this way. 0 rotation 180 degree, and we put it in here. Let's increase the Z and the Y. You move it a little bit to here. I won't try to make it perfect, but you will find a well-made sample. Let's duplicate this and move it to here, rotate to on Z 180 degree. Something like that. And we have our mountain road. I hope I covered all the things that needs explanation in City Road Maker. If you have any further question, don't hesitate contacting me. So that's all about the tutorial, and I hope it was beneficial for you, and happy blending.